So I want to talk about why I decided to become a car salesman. About 1 or 2 years ago, I used to work in this factory. This factory was known for making cookies, breadsticks, muffins, etc. We make cookies for Subway, Arby's, Walmart, whatever. I used to be part of the cookie making team per se, and I was a mixing operator. My job entailed to mix ingredients together, things like sugar, salt, molasses, you name it. Whatever goes into a cookie, I was the one who was mixing it. I sent the actual, dough or whatever to this oven. That oven cooked it, and then the people on the other side would wrap up the actual cookies. Wrap up the actual cookies. I did that for about a year. Truthfully, that was the only job that I had up to that point that I had stayed longer than 6 months. So a year for me was a lot. Not only that, but I was able to make the most amount of money I've ever made up to that point, which was $55,000. As a guy who was 21 years old, never saw a check higher than $400. I mean, that was a lot of money, and I spent it on bullshit, whatever. But throughout that year, I didn't like that job at all. Reason being, number one, the hours sucked. It was at 3 in the fucking morning till 3 p.m. in the afternoon. 12-hour days. We would work from Monday through Saturday. Sometimes work even Sundays. Let's say I wanted some overtime or whatever, I'd work some Sundays. So I'd sometimes work 80 hours a week. Sometimes right around 60 hours per week. Two, it was a lot of hard labor. You know what I mean? When you think about, sugar and salt, you're thinking about like small bags, but we're making like ginormous buckets of dough and cookie dough. So we're talking bags that weighs up to 50 pounds, and I have to carry them, put it inside the actual, whatchamacallit, in like this huge bowl, and then just do that for like 12 hours. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing for me was there was no purpose to what I actually did. I was getting paid $21 an hour. I was working 12 hours, and it felt like what I was doing, it had zero purpose. Truthfully, truthfully. Yeah, I was making, good money. I was able to spend it on a lot of stuff, but I didn't have any purpose doing what I was doing, because whether I'm working or I'm not, if I'm just clocked in, I'm making money. So I'm not really getting paid for what I know. I'm just getting paid to just be there and do whatever you say. And I hated that, truthfully. I hated just going in there, just saying, oh, I got to do these 12 hours, and you know what I mean? Like, the thought of like, if I just, where am I trying to go with this? It was like, I found ways to like do less just so I can earn more. And it was like, well, why am I even here? You know what I mean? If I'm somewhere, I want to be there. I want to be present. Some people just take it as, well, it's a job. Just make the money and go home. But I was like, I need purpose. I need a reason why to do this. Just making cookies for Walmart is not giving me purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to fight for this. Like, I want to do something important. You know what I mean? And that thought was really prevalent in the last few months that I was working there. I remember I spoke with God, and I said, help me find another way. I need another job. I need maybe, and I was starting out on my business. I was like, listen, can my business blow up? Can you help me do something so I don't have to be here any longer? I went on to go for a fast for 3 days. So I wouldn't eat from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I would pray like 3 times per day. And then I would also listen to some preachers as well. So I was like locked in with God for those 3 days, like heavily. You know what I mean? Like I was really wanting an answer here. And after those 3 days, I I came in on the 4th day. My manager said, "Hey, Brandon, I need to speak to you." Okay, cool. No worries. We go down to his office, and he says, "Hey, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go." And I'm like, "Why?" He was like, "Well, I had taken some time off, and he had mentioned how I didn't show up the last 2 days." And I was like, "That's incorrect, because on the app it shows that I put my PTO hours 3 days before, and it shows approved that it's green." He said, "Sorry, we didn't hear. Sorry." He was like, "Sorry, you didn't call this and this phone number, and because of that, we're gonna have to let you go." And I was pissed off, bro. Like, I was like literally pissed off, because I would do my job really well. I remember we had this task bar, or this percentage bar, and it was this math equation saying, like, how much do we actually waste and how much is good product. When you subtract those two numbers, you would get a percentage. Our percentage was always like 98, 99, you know what I mean? Like, it was always like really high, and we would beat the other like plants, for example. So even the ones that were doing like breadsticks and muffins and the other cookies, like, my side was always doing the best in the entire warehouse. And so I can recall certain meetings where one of the managers was like, "Hey, listen, you guys are doing really well, but we need you guys to do better." I'm like, "We're doing nearly perfect. We're doing better than all the other companies. The one that were like second and third were like 80%. You know what I mean?" And I'm like, "We're doing all this work. It's close to perfect." You know what I mean? And the way that you reward us is with pizza and saying that we can do better. Fuck out of here, bro. The other thing is too, is like, the pay raise that you get from working there for an entire year is 3%, which is nothing. So I'm like, I'm doing all this work for you. I've been here for an entire year. I'm young. If you tell me, "Hey, we're gonna raise your pay raise a few dollars, we want to give you this position, we really want you to be in this company," you know what I mean? Like, if you make me feel important, like you want me to stay here, I probably would have stayed, you know what I mean? But when you treat me like I'm just nothing, that I can just always do better, you're not gonna give me a really good pay raise, and then the PTO, you want to be stingy with my own time off? Get the fuck out of here. So I left. I obviously got fired. The guy said, "Yeah, sorry," or whatever. I said, "Cool, bro, bye." I left. From that day moving forward, I said, I'm no longer gonna work warehouse work. Fuck that. That shit just sucks. It's just stressful. People don't really like you. The management always see you as like less than themselves. They're like, they don't know what it's like to start out as being what I was doing. A lot of them get hired from this other company, or they just graduated college, or they apply for management, and then they just get in. It's very rare to have somebody at the very bottom climb up to the top. And I sure as hell was not just gonna stay there and take more bullshit from them. Fuck that. So I went on afterwards. I think I spent 4 or 5 months unemployed. What the reason being was that I didn't want a warehouse job, and the job that I was looking for, I forgot what it was, bro, but I was like, I'm not working a warehouse again. Obviously, they're always taking in people because nobody wants to work there. I really didn't know like where to go to. You know what I mean? Then my best friend calls me saying, "Hey, I got a job at a car dealership. They're looking for another salesman. You should apply here. They'll probably take you." I say, "Cool." I do the actual interview and I get in. And I've been here for 9 months. The first few months were like rough. I wasn't organized. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know how to have my emotions like stable. Like a customer wouldn't buy a car, then I would get sad. A customer will tell me that they'll get back with me, and I would like eagerly wait for their phone call, and they wouldn't get back with me. I would like, it felt like I was just trying, but I wasn't like, I was never getting the results I was asking like back. Like the effort that I put in, it felt like I wasn't getting it back. You know what I mean? And that really, you know, was hard for me, because I was like, you know, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm making I'm making these phone calls. I'm talking to the people. I'm showing them the actual car. I'm spending so much time with you for you not to buy a car. It's like, bro, like what the fuck? Not only that, but genuinely speaking, I'm not really doing much. It's a bit different going from a factory job where you get paid by the hour and they have multiple things for you to do every single day, you know what I mean, as opposed to a car dealership to where it's like they don't tell you what to do. You know what I mean? They don't tell you, hey, you gotta call this many customers. Hey, you gotta call to service customers. Hey, you gotta show this customer a car. You gotta do this, gotta do that. It's very, very up to you how you wanna run your schedule. Which at the time I didn't understand it, but now I actually do. I've been here for 9 months, and when things have really clicked in for me is when I have a set schedule. So being organized has been super powerful. It's essentially owning my own business. I decide what I want to do. If I want to make this many phone calls, if I want to post on Facebook Marketplace, if I want to speak to this customer, it gives me power over my own time, which I love. Not only that, but it has taught me to get out of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Back in my old job, it was just doing whatever they said. It wasn't like no skilling involved. But this job, like, if I don't make those phone calls, if I don't talk to those customers, if I don't try and do what I have to do to like close these actual people, I can't pay my bills. I can't pay for my car, for rent, for etc. You know what I mean? So now I have to fight to make money, you know? And at first, sorry, I have something like in my nose. Excuse me. You know, at first I was very timid. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to go to like for me at the time, it was just very weird making like short conversation and making that short conversation into like a long one. It was just very awkward. But I realized that like if I don't bring up the fact that, listen, like, do you want to buy a car today? Is there a way that I can help you out today? Do you know somebody who wants to buy a car today? Hey, if I can do this, would you be willing to move forward today? Like, if I don't reach out to people and ask them to buy a car or just make up a conversation so I can, hopefully in the future, they come buy a car from me. Like, if I don't make that effort every single day, I'm not going to get I'm not going to get anything back. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get a sale. I'm not going to have somebody who wants to buy a car off me. So, not only that, but to kind of wrap all this up, improvements have to be made on myself daily. I have to grow every day, which is something that I've wanted for a while. You know what I mean? And I don't regret it, but you have to think about it. There's always a way to grow. There's always something you can do to get better. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I want to stay, not that I want to, but it's like being a person who started out in a warehouse to now in sales is like, sometimes I want to revert back to the old Brandon, or I guess the younger Brandon, that was just laid back, was just chill, didn't really care much, didn't really want to self-improve, just was chilling, not doing much. But I can't do that. I don't have that luxury. I always have to self-improve. When I'm always like listening to books and watching videos on how to sell, or I'm always like ingesting something that can help me grow, that's when I make more money, and that's when I sell more cars. So this job has really taught me that, like, you have to fight for what you want. You have to be organized. You have to be on your toes. You have to be emotionally stable. Bro, do you know what it's like to spend hours with the customer? I'm talking 3 or 4 hours with the customer, showing them a car, working numbers, handling objections, just for the customer at the very last minute saying, I want to think about it. Spending all that time, they leave without buying a car. And now another customer comes in 2 minutes later saying, hey, I want to look at this car. You have to now flush out everything that you just went through with this last customer, because this other one comes in, and you have to stay just calm, collective, excited, thank them for being there, and give them the exact experience that you gave the other person for 4 hours. Now you gotta do it all over again with this other person. I mean, that's fucked. That, like, it really sucks. There's times when I've seen like 3 or 4 customers in one day. Not one of them bought. A person comes in immediately after my last one, and I have to go in the bathroom and just cool off, because 4 customers didn't buy from me. Now this other person is coming in. I have to do the same exact presentation as these other 4. But then it's like, emotionally, I'm like, bro, like, I'm fucking pissed off, angry. I want to go home. I don't want to be here. Fuck this job. But I have to keep that same amount of energy, excitement, the attitude. I have to keep all those things for this next person. So this has taught me, stay consistent. Not too high, not too low, just staying consistent. And even though a lot of times I fucking hate this job, it is one of the best things I've ever done for myself. Seriously, one of the best things. It keeps me on my toes, bro. Like, I don't know who's gonna come. I don't know what to expect. My schedule is always different. I may say, I want to make this phone calls in the morning, then I want to speak to these people, then I want to post on Facebook, then I may want to say I want my schedule to look like this today. But a lot of times it gets fucked upside down. You know what I mean? And I still have to stay consistent with it. I would have never gotten this level of like shit to do, or this level of like skills, or like whatever, from my previous job. It's made me very, very uncomfortable, but by the grace of God, it is one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And those are the reasons why I've picked a sales job, and now I'm no longer working a regular hourly job. Thank you for watching, and hope you like this video.